Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite. Hello, everyone. How you guys doing? Hope you guys are all doing well. Welcome to Reganelite's Watch Along, episode 91. We are 9 live streams away from reaching 100 episode of this series, guys. I'm very much looking forward to hitting that 100. I might do something. I might do like I might do a funny like do like something similar to do with the anniversary show, just instead of a political one, because I really do like this series, guys. I really do. I think it really teaches me a lot about people, a lot more than reading and digging into articles. It's a different kind of live stream, I do find there. So I am very much looking forward to hitting that 100 episode, guys, for sure. But we've got quite a few different clips tonight. I just want to put a couple caveats in. So for those who are new to this live stream, what I normally do is I get a bunch of clips from X, Twitter, and we watch and we give our reactions to them. So I've got some on with regards to ICE, clips in America. I've got a couple of varying different ones in the UK. I've got a lot of Trump ones if we really want to put ourselves through that. I've got some ones about the Iran war as well. And I've got one funny, I think it's just one funny AI video, I think, yeah, for us later on as well. Normally we go about an hour and a half. I want to stop at half past 9 because last week we went over that, guys. I want to stop at 9:30. And then at 9:30, guys, I'm going to go onto Discord. And if you guys want to join me on the Discord for a little bit, you can do there. Nobody came on Monday night, but I'm going to see if anybody decides to come on after tonight after the show, guys. So if you want to come and join me for that, you can do as well. Also, before I say hello to the chat, I've got some other good news, guys. So today, not only have the shorts been done for the next couple of days, members will have seen them already, but Patreon and Rumble viewers, I've done content for Rumble and Patreon between not just now and the end of this end of Friday, but also for the weekend. So yes, there will be additional Patreon and Rumble content dropping on Saturday and Sunday as well, guys. Yes, I kid you not. So I have recorded Rumble and Patreon content going all the way up till Sunday. So you're guaranteed content to drop on those platforms all the way for the weekend. I don't normally do content for the weekend, but I decided to do it today because I've been kind of a bit behind on both those platforms. So you've got content going all the way up. A lot of it is reports and articles with regards to the Iran war related to it, whether it's from a Trump or Middle Eastern perspective. Lots of that on both platforms, both Rumble and Patreon. So do consider checking them out. They will drop every day at 12 p.m. between now and Sunday, guys. So do check them out if you haven't already. Also, for members as well here on YouTube, I have posted cat posts all the way up till next week as well. I almost forgot to do one today, so I know you guys saw the one I dropped today as well. And I've put some polls down for the next couple of days to get some interaction with the YouTube community here and see what you guys think about some certain questions that I've put to you guys in the chat, and I'll definitely check out the comments in the next couple of days or so. And as for main videos here on YouTube, I'm hoping to do that. If not tomorrow, I'm going to try and do that Friday for you guys as well. And I'm also delighted to announce as well, Graham Price of Power to the People will be joining us tomorrow night on the round table. So you'll have myself, Graham Price, Daily Blase, and One Angry Pagan will be for the round table, guys. So I'm very happy to have him on. I did say to him, I did apologise. I had someone else planned, but they weren't responding. So I asked Graham at short notice, and he said he was happy to come on. He had nothing planned for tomorrow night. So he'll be joining us for the round table. So I'm absolutely delighted to have him on. And I will be looking to plan next week's round table. Hopefully with there's two people in particular I want on that show. Hopefully I can get them both for that show, because it would be very, very good if we can indeed. But I'll let you guys know once I've secured them, and I will update the thumbnail at some point today as well. Let me see who we got in the chat before we get going with the show. Good evening, Jal, one of our moderators. Guys, if you haven't already, please subscribe to Jal's YouTube channel. He has his own work there. It discusses lots of different politics and stuff there. So do check out his work. He's still... Jal, at some point, I would love to have you on my channel at some point. Just me and you, just discussing news and politics. Just me and you at some point. Please, if you can, please... obviously, I don't want to discuss it on the live stream, but if you can... If you are generally interested, reach out to my on the front of my home tab. There is a business email. You can contact me on there if you want to have a discussion there. If you don't want to join Discord or any social media, I have a private email. I have a public email address. You can reach out to me on there. So please do, Jal, because I would like to do a show with you sometime if you're interested. So please reach out to me on my. It's on the home tab. You can find my public email address there, my friend. Billy Kershaw, good evening, fellow Badger. Good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Hola, amigos, says Martin Britt. Good to see you, Martin. Hope you are doing well there. Good to see you there. Mel is here. We're taking care of all the ducklings here in the chat. Good to see you, Mel. Hope you are doing well. Doc Davis is here. Of course, we have our good doctor in the house to take care of all the badgers and ducks and animals in the chat. So it's good to see you there, Doc Davis. We always could do with a doctor around here. So it's good to see you there in the chat. Anybody else? Stephen Banker is here as well. Good to see you there, Stephen. Another one of our fabulous moderators there. Good to see you there as well. And Stephen Banker has provided a link. If you're not subscribed to Power to the People, yeah, do check out his content. It's got great stuff on there. Great stuff on there. Yes, thank you, Stephen Banker, for providing the link for that. Absolutely great stuff there. And so is another person in the chat. Witchigoff is there in the chat as well. Hello, Witchigoff. Did you go live today? I apologise. I've been so busy today. I completely missed it. I hope you had a great live stream if you did go live there. Good to see you there, guys. Do check out Witchigoff's YouTube channel as well. Lovely to see you there as well. Anna, good evening to you. Hope you are doing well. Wouldn't that be a vet? Yes, Doc Davis, but Doc Davis can be a vet and a doctor. He can be both. He can be both in the chat. Mr. E, good evening to you as well. Our little world is going to be a little difficult place for some time by design. Unfortunately, it is, but that doesn't mean in the world of news and politics, it is grim. But outside that bubble, there are still many positive things that there is on this planet, guys. Remember, and guys, if you want to remember, every Friday and Sunday we have on the Friday we have a funny story from Daisy the Dead Cat, Daisy's satire news. And then on Sunday, guys, there's a good news story dropping every Sunday at 8 a.m. There's a playlist of fantastic, wonderful good news stories to remind you, yes, you, of just how great human beings are. Because we all need reminders. There's a playlist on my home tab called Good News, Good Vibes. It's always there to remind you that there are some wonderful people who do great things out there. We all need that reminder every now and then. Anyway, speaking of hell on earth, I want to start with these clips, with some of these here. No, actually, I shouldn't start with that one. Shall we go with the Iran war? Let's go with the Iran war. I think we should do the Iran war before we go to America there. Where is it? So I want to start with... I don't actually want to cover that one. I wanted to share this piece here from Al Jazeera here. Let me just make sure I got the feed up for you guys. I haven't got the feed up there. So just kind of giving a breakdown of kind of like... So normally we hear it from Sky News' perspective. I thought we'd try and hear it from a different perspective. From Al Jazeera instead of Sky News. A different perspective on what's going on right now here. And then Al Jazeera correspondent kind of explaining... 3 weeks into the US and Israeli war on Iran, supply chain disruptions are far more than just oil and gas here. And I think, which is absolutely correct here as well. This is only going to get worse. It really is only going to get worse the longer this goes on. But the damage has kind of already been done by the choking of the Strait of Hormuz. But some interesting points I think she makes here with this analysis here. So let's have a listen.
Days into the US-Israeli war on Iran, oil prices shot up. Now the conflict is driving up far more than just oil prices, and that's because Iran has effectively shut the Strait of Hormuz, a critical transit route for oil and gas supplies. It's also virtually stopped shipping traffic, and that's affecting commodities like aluminium. Now, the Gulf region accounts for about 8% of global supply, 30% of Europe's imports, and 20% of US imports. Now, low cost and vast energy resources have helped the countries here set up huge smelting factories, but they rely on raw material imports, and this choke point here is not letting that happen.
So, I have said in the past that it's not just oil and gas that's going to be affected by the Strait of Hormuz, by what's happening here. It's other resources. And aluminum is just one, it's just another one here, as she's pointed out. We don't think about some of the other, because it's about a knock-on effect. It's not, you hear all the time about oil, but when you're not hearing about the knock-on effects yet about other resources as well. And I think that really does stick out a lot to me when I think about it.
Because those shipments are also getting stuck here. So now this is driving up aluminum prices, and it's the highest it's been in years. Now, nearly a third of the world's helium is sourced from Qatar's Ras Laffan hub. Now, helium is a byproduct of liquefied natural gas, and Qatar, as we know, is a major exporter. But it stopped production after Iranian attacks on its facility. Now, remember, if there's no LNG, there's no helium. The gas supports several industries in the semiconductor, medical imaging, and aerospace.
That's a very, I don't know about you guys, but MRI scans and superconductors, that's very important stuff there.
Now, the Gulf also produces sulfur and urea. Now, sulfur is used in fertilizer processes and several other industries. Nearly half of the world's supply normally passes through the Strait of Hormuz. And when it comes to urea, the region is a major producer, but it needs to pass through this choke point to get to its buyers. Now, the disruption can have an impact on agricultural output, and that in turn is going to have impact on food prices, and they're likely to go up.
So again, when it's so important for people to understand this, that it is not just about oil and gas that's being affected. It's not just about these nations that rely on getting food into their states through the Strait of Hormuz, because a lot of these countries obviously rely on imports of food, for them, because they don't farm and produce a lot of the food locally because of the weather, because obviously the weather that they have, they rely on a lot of imports coming in. Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, Saudi Arabia, a lot of them need food to come in, and they pick it up normally from the Strait of Hormuz. Saudi Arabia will be different because they can get it from the other side, but still going to be problematic for them. But the resources, there's so many more resources that passes through that people don't know about, and these are also going to be things that are going to affect the global markets as well. So it's not just oil and gas that you keep hearing about all the time.
And finally, we have Brazil, the world's largest sugarcane producer. And mills here can either produce sugar or ethanol, which is fuel used for cars in the country. Now, because of high oil prices, the producers are choosing to make ethanol fuel, and that's driving up sugar prices. Now, analysts says longer the disruption, greater the chaos across industries.
I thought that was a very good piece shared by Al Jazeera there, really kind of just pointing out the ramifications of what will happen if we don't get that strait cleared. Now, I've said this in the videos anyway, but I'm going to repeat it here because I think it's really, really important. That there was one video clip actually I didn't get that I wanted to share with you guys because it is related to it, and that is from Sky News's analysis piece on the oil situation as well, because I think I kind of discussed this on the Speaking My Mind episode, and I wanted to share this with you guys as well. I need to scroll and find it here for you. We need to get the strait needs to be opened, essentially. However, at the same time, it's like, well, everyone's just going to suffer the longer the strait is not opened. Everyone's going to suffer suffer consequences of that there. It seems like once again my chat is not updating, guys. I can see there looking at it from my phone there. So my apologies, guys, that I cannot read your comments again. I just for reference, I did uninstall and reinstall my iPhone, the app on the phone, and it obviously has not fixed the chat on it, which is very, very annoying indeed. Where is that clip from Sky News? God damn it. Do I really have to go to YouTube to get it? Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. I thought I thought the clip would be on Sky News's. Sorry about this, guys. Apologies. Where is it? Scroll down. Where is it? There it is.
Now, this is going to...
Is it better like that, or is it better? No. Right, so it's a bit of a long one, but I think it's important with regards to oil. So this one is very fascinating indeed. So this is the question that is, well, it's not related directly to the Iran war, but it's obviously linked to it, and it's about our North Sea, guys. Here, and that is Britain sitting on more gas? And the short answer is yes.
Now, this is going to be a slightly longer screen than we normally do, because this is a massive issue, and I have a feeling it's going to get bigger and bigger in the coming weeks and months, because that question of how much oil and gas is left in the North Sea, how much could we get in the future, what are the implications going to be about that, is pretty big right now, and it's going to get bigger. Let's just start with some of the history here, because it's kind of easy to forget, isn't it, that for a period, Britain was one of the world's biggest oil producers. One of the world's biggest. Let me just show you. This is showing you the top 25 oil producers in the world. This is back in 1986. The UK was fifth in the world, ahead of Iraq, ahead of Iran, ahead of Venezuela. So it was a big producer. And actually, even by the turn of the millennium, so 2000, still the 9th biggest, so still in the top 10. We kind of forget that, don't we? Especially given that if you look to where we are now, 2024, there we are, we're 24th. So it's been a precipitous decline, although worth saying that other countries have risen really sharply. America, thanks to fracking, has gone up there to be the biggest oil producer in the world.
Yeah, fracking. Yeah, and this is right. See, the likes of Reform, they want to push us back up the table. They want to push us back up the table.
And another thing we forget is if you're going to look back through history and look not just at production, but at how much in the way of taxes have been brought in by that, you kind of forget how big a deal this was for the UK economy. Look at this. In the mid-1980s, you're talking about 6% of all government revenues came from the North Sea. 6% of everything. It's about 2% of GDP. It's kind of, you could finance the entire armed forces, so Army, Navy, Air Force, just with North Sea oil revenue.
And this I hate this analysis, because this feeds into the Reform analysis of why we need excuse me, of why we need to drill, baby drill, why we need more oil and gas and that malarkey. I hate that narrative, but unfortunately it's a very good painting of a narrative. But obviously, of course, the counter arguments, of course, well, the environment and the climate and the damage it can do.
I mean, worth saying, in Norway, there was a strategy behind this. So all of the revenue that came in Norway, it went into a sovereign wealth fund, stored for a kind of rainy day in the future to make the nation richer. Did that happen in the UK? No, it did not. So all of this money basically came into the exchequer, and it was just spent. It was spent like normal tax revenue. It made the UK better off in that period. And actually, this is a big part of the explanation for how the UK went from this period in the 1970s where you had terrible inflation, the economy wasn't doing well. All of a sudden, it was doing better in the 1980s. And part of that comes down to oil. We forget about all of this. So that's the kind of revenue side. And worth just pointing out one other thing, which is 2022, after the invasion of Ukraine, oil prices went up a lot. The UK imposed a windfall tax, and it did bring in a bit of money. And actually, that windfall tax has stayed in place. And if you talk to oil producers, and you'll see this is really important. If you talk to oil producers, they say this is part of the reason why they're a bit reluctant to go into the UK and do more North Sea drilling and production.
Yeah, because of with the windfall taxes, because we impose taxes on them, whereas other countries aren't doing that there. Okay, I've switched devices, so once again, I can see the YouTube chat again. So let me have a look here, see what you guys are saying. So now I can finally see messages now. Sorry, my YouTube is effing up. No, it's my phone. It's my phone. If I use my other device, I can see the chat feed coming through. But if I use my other device, it doesn't work, which is very, very weird. I don't know what's wrong with it. Ships getting close to Iran's coast for visual identification for being allowed through without a threat, says Billy Kershaw. Yes, actually, I will. I've said this on another video, but I'll just point it out anyway for you guys here live. So the best way to get through the Strait of Hormuz is not to pay insane insurance and whatnot. Is not it's not getting an escort from the UK, US, or whoever. The best way to get ships through the Strait of Hormuz is to negotiate with Iran. If you can negotiate directly with Iran, then and you're successful, you can get through. A lot of nations have been able to get through. There was recently one from Pakistan that got through the Strait of Hormuz because they could negotiate with Iran. So there are ships going through in and out of the Strait. It's all about whether or not it depends. If you are a friend or an ally of the United States and Israel, basically you're not getting through that. If you're not, and you're just a neutral country, and if you negotiate with Iran, you can just get through comfortably, no issues whatsoever. I worked 3 years in Qatar, 2002 to 2005, says Martin. Wow. Generally curious to know what it was like for you for working there, Martin. Logistics of food will increase and be passed on to the end buyer. Yep, we will all end up paying as a direct result of it. Yep. Jao said, an uncle working in the oil fields, chief electrician, he says. The price of food is one thing, but most of it will rot. Jao says some things are more expensive here in Portugal, but not much, and the supply chains are not faulting. It's still like, the thing is like, it's not right now. It's what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks and months, because what normally happens, right, is there's normally like some stock. There's stock in the countries of these things, and some countries obviously have reserves. It's when you don't have that stock and you don't have those reserves, what happens then? That's when the questions start getting raised. I feel like that's when it's going to come here. So, control of resources is controlled environments, as Mr. E. Yep, indeed there. Yep. Mandy, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. Hold on, let me just make sure. Right, there we go. Right, let's carry on listening.
But anyway, that's the fiscal picture. I want to kind of take a step back and think about just how much gas is being produced and how much we are consuming. So this is right now, well, going back the last few years, how much supply there is, that's the dark blue, the navy blue line, and how much demand there is. And here's the critical thing, okay? So at the turn of the millennium, the UK was self-sufficient for gas. We were producing loads of gas, so much that we were a net exporter. We were exporting it out around the world. That was when those bars were very high.
What changed, chat? What do you think?
But look at what's happened in the intervening period. So look, supply has gone down a lot, and demand has gone down as well. But here's where we are right now. And there's a big gap, isn't there, between what we need in terms of our gas, or what we're kind of consuming, and what's being supplied, the gas gap. And that gap is basically filled by imports. So liquid.
And this is the kicker here, yeah. So obviously we are using, basically we don't want to drill anymore. We don't want to take in as much gas as we want in our areas anymore, because, you know, we don't want to be producers of bad environment and whatnot. So, you know, and that slow and steady decline, you can kind of see that even there. Look, regardless of what you might think of the Conservatives and the 15 years of austerity, they kept with the trend. You can see the trend there. The numbers, the decline was going down. The Conservatives were bringing it down. You can see behind, I know you can't see it because of where Ed Conway is standing, but you can see 2014, 2016, 2018, you can see from 2010 onwards, you can see just from the graph there as it dropped there under the Conservatives as well.
Liquefied natural gas, and even more right now, gas coming in from Norway. So the UK was self-sufficient for gas. We're not self-sufficient now. And this is where we get to the critical thing. What happens off in the future? Now, there's all sorts of projections about likely demand and supply, and I'm going to show you a couple of them. Okay, so this is showing you the expectation for what happens to demand, so how much gas we're actually consuming. And it's interesting, isn't it? It goes down quite a lot. And why does it go down? It doesn't go down because we're kind of doing less, although, you know, some people in the industry would say so. It goes down because basically less gas is being used for power production because you've got more renewables, and less gas is used in homes for heating, because people are shifting across, or at least the plan is people are going to shift across to heat pumps.
I want to believe this graph. I really don't buy this, and the main reason I don't buy this projection is for the sole reason we've got two right-wing political parties, the Conservatives and Reform, who are very much against net zero and are very much in favour of appealing to the oil and gas companies, and that is where I can't see that line happening. There is absolutely no, and obviously a lot can happen between now and 2050 anyway. There is absolutely no way I can see that line going down. Yeah, if you get a reform government in, I really don't.
So demand goes down, and that's the kind of net zero plan, but so too does supply. And this is what we're really focusing on. How much oil is coming from the North Sea? And there are two different kind of measures of this. So these numbers come from the North Sea Transition Authority. It's kind of like the regulator, and they're a bit like the Office of Budget Responsibility, except for oil figures. You might not have heard of them, but I suspect you might do in the coming weeks and months. That's what they think the kind of baseline is. So if they think that's really likely. But if there's more exploration, they think maybe the line could be a little bit higher. I mean, you probably haven't even noticed the difference between the two, but have a look, just see if you can see. That's the baseline. That's extra exploration.
But that's if we allow them to explore around the UK, because I think if you guys I'm sure you guys would agree with me that if we allowed oil and gas companies to explore around the islands, around our islands more, they could probably find more oil and gas. I think there is more oil and gas around, and it's just a case of just finding it and finding it.
And if you're wondering, well, have I seen this chart before? It kind of looks familiar. Well, there's a chance you might have, because this has become something of a cult chart. This is the kind of the black line there. It's become something of a cult chart around Whitehall. Just recently, actually, it was tweeted by Jeevan Stander, the Labour MP, kind of in response to someone saying, well, couldn't we get more gas out of the North Sea? And his point was, what's North Sea gas? And he pointed to this chart showing that even if you wanted to do even more exploration and production in the future, the line still just goes down and down and down and down. And, cards on the table, I have also produced that chart before, thinking it was kind of making the same point. But since then, I've looked into the data and there's a slightly different interpretation.
And this is where I feel reform will take advantage here. Reg, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. And Sarah Davis, good to see you both. Hope you guys are doing well. So with this graph, right, and these projections, right, anybody who says, oh, we need to drill more or we need to pump more gas and all that kind of stuff, this is kind of the graph you would basically say, yep, this is not going to happen. This is, there's no point there. We don't have enough. Like, there's just not enough. Like, we have to import. Like, we have to import if we want more. It's better to go renewables, so we're self-reliant on our own energy rather than being at the whims of the global markets.
Before we get to that, though, just consider the big story, the big picture here. There's the North Sea, there's an oil rig on the North Sea, and the prevailing kind of point here is that this is what kind of geologists call a mature basin, which is to say we kind of have a relatively good sense. We've been digging around here, exploring around here for decades and decades. We have a relatively good sense of what there is under the ground. There's lots of gas over there. You've got oil around there. There's Norway, so a lot of oil and gas there as well. There are areas that haven't been as well explored. So parts here in west of Scotland, you've got lots of granite under the ground, so it's quite hard to do your scanning through that. So maybe there's a bit more oil there. There might be a bit more to the west of Shetland. But for the most part, we've got kind of a relatively good handle on how much there is.
But what if there's more? And this is the point. And I fear that this video is actually going to play into Reform's hands, if I'm honest here. He reminds me of a weekend in the 90s, says Mr. E. Yeah, he does. But I do find I do find the analysis from these people, I do find it fascinating. I do find it fascinating, though. And I think, he's coming close to his point, guys.
And if you kind of convert the sense of what there is under the ground into numbers, have a look at this. This is basically just gas and how much gas over time has been assessed to be under the ground. So from the 1970s through to where we are now, you can see as there have been more exploration, there have been more discoveries, the total gas under the ground has gone up and up and up. I say under the ground naturally, but if we just kind of break this down into what's happened to that gas, you get more of a sense of kind of the big picture. And this is the big picture. So most of that gas, the dark bit here, it's already come out of the ground. It's already been produced. It's already been burnt. It's gone. That stuff's already gone. But there's still some, the red parts here and the purple parts, that's left. Okay, just to make this really clear, what we'll do is we'll just take one slice of this. We'll take the latest year, so 2024, and just show you the big picture. How much gas is there in the North Sea? Well, look, that's the stuff we've already used. That's gone. This is the stuff that's left. And that constitutes about 80% of all of the gas resources. So 80% of the North Sea gas, at least as far as we know what's under there. I mean, there could be more exploration, there could be more discoveries, you just never know. But as far as we know in this mature field, 80% has gone, roughly 20% is left. But here's
this makes right there says, well, this is why we need to focus more on renewable energy, because, well, there's not enough there. If there's not enough there, then then it's even more of a case that we need to go to renewable energy, because if we want to get more, we've got to import it. And we're importing from Norway, and quite a big chunk from Norway, which you'll come to as well. So it makes logical sense here. The thing Scotland could achieve with the control of our seas, indeed, Steambanker. But here's the thing, like if what he's saying is true, and that a vast majority of the gas has been taken out of the ground. Like how much is going to be left after you have independence? Because independence is coming at some point for Scotland. How much do you have left is going to be a question.
Here's where things get interesting. Okay, of that 20%, some of it is easy. So this isn't what's known as reserves. And some of this stuff, it's fields where there's the oil, you just haven't pumped it, or the gas rather, you just haven't pumped it. And when I talk about oil and gas, usually you find oil and gas in kind of similar fields. So some of it is easy. It's there, you just haven't pumped it yet. Some of it is harder, it takes more work to get out. And resources, there's this whole kind of difference between reserves and resources, we won't go into that, but the broad point is, the further you get here, the further into resources, that's difficult stuff. So easy, hard. And as you go further along that line, it costs more money. It costs more money to build for the investment, for all the pipelines, and just to get it out of the ground. And this kind of takes us back to that chart I showed you, that kind of cult chart. What that chart's basically trying to work out is, of that remaining 20%, how much will we actually get out of the ground? But of course, it has to take into account certain things, like what are the taxes? How attractive is it to actually go out there? How much are people going to want to spend on the North Sea? These are all things they have to bear in mind when they're coming up with this chart.
And this is and I like this because it's putting. I like it because it's putting off investors of oil and gas, because, let's be honest, we don't want these fuckers in the UK, because they're damaging our environment, and they're taking all the fucking money for themselves. I would rather they don't invest in the UK. I don't want these oil and gas greedy fuckers investing and whatnot in the UK. I want them gone. I want us relying more on renewable energy. We don't want the investment from them. Like, if they want to continue to invest, then fine. But, I don't want them to invest, personally.
So back to it. What we're going to do is we're going to take this chart and ask the fundamental question. Is that actually inevitable? Is it inevitable that it's going to be what North Sea gas? Or is there an alternative path that we might well take in the future? So there's that line. We're going to break it down. Let's take that line, and we'll look at something interesting. So I thought when I first saw this line that it was basically set in stone. But interestingly, okay, if you look at the line for this year and then compare it to the lines, same kind of thing, the official assessment of how much we've got in the future, compare it to the lines that were produced in previous years, so that's this one, compare it to previous years, and look, those other lines, for instance, 2023, actually, they're a little bit different. They're not falling quite so fast. And you see that, I'll just zoom in because it's very hard to see that. If we zoom in here, you can see by 2050, only 3 years ago, the projection was saying we were going to get double the amount of gas that the latest projection says.
Yeah, but that 2023 for that, I think it comes down to which government was in power, and that 2023 projection was obviously under a coalition, the Conservatives, who were very much on the goody two shoes sides of oil and gas companies. They never got in their way. They never whatnot. Then they weren't a problem. They allowed them to continue to do what they needed to do. Whereas in 2026, obviously, Labour are not allowing them to kind of do what they do. So that's kind of the main difference there in those projections.
So it's not set in stone. And what's changed in that period? Well, we have a new government that's come in and they said, we're not going to have new licenses.
Yeah.
We're not going to have exploration in those unlicensed areas. And that's only one part of it, but that's part of the explanation for why things have changed, why it looks like that line is inevitably going down. All of which raises the question, what would happen if you assumed, rather than leaving all the government policies in place, which is basically what the official regulator has to do, what if you assumed that actually taxes were cut for oil producers? What if you assumed there were more incentives to go out there and do exploration like there are in Norway? Would the line look any different? And that's what OE UK, they're the lobby group for North Sea producers, that's what they've just done with their members. And have a look at this. This is what they suggest might be an alternative scenario. Isn't that interesting? Rather than inevitably going down and down and down and down, the line still is going down, but much less quickly than it was before.
But this is And this right here, this is something that Reform UK will shout and scream about, of saying, look, if we reduce all these regulations, if we cut taxes on oil and gas, think of how much we can find out there in the North Sea. Think of how much we have out there. This is exactly what they want to bring out. Stephen Moore, good morning to you over in New Zealand. Hope you are doing well. Ellie, good morning. Good evening to you, one of our new moderators. Hope you are doing well there. We can use electricity to pump water up and turn turbines on the way down, says Mr. E.
To the extent that actually, when you look at 2035, so kind of a decade from now, you're talking about more than double gas production that we have now. Now, it's worth just cautioning. This is a kind of best case scenario. And it's also worth pointing out something important. That line isn't going up sharply, and we're still dependent on imports at that point. But how dependent on imports? Have a look at this. Okay, this is really interesting. This is showing you where our gas comes from at the moment. Okay, so 2024, the year we're kind of the latest year for which we've got data. That was total UK gas demand. So everything from power stations to going into our boilers, and also industry, that's the demand. That's how much came from the UK part of the North Sea. That much came from Norway, so a little bit more from Norway. And there was liquefied natural gas as well. And this matters. This is the stuff that comes from Qatar, from the US, some of it from Russia, or at least not to the UK. And actually, interestingly, in that period, the UK was acting as a kind of bridge. So all of the LNG that was coming into the UK, it went over to Europe. We'll come back to that in a second. But now kind of fast forward to 10 years from now. And if you assume that that chart, the what North Sea gas chart, is indeed right, this is how things look. In 2035, UK gas provides 18% of the gas that we need.
Now, here's a question for you. Is that a good thing? Is that a good thing? But but I also say it depends how much of it we actually rely on. It depends how much of it we rely on. How much do we switch less on gas, though? How much reliance on gas can we rely on here? And the funny thing is right, there is a part of me, as I'm looking at this, guys, and I know some people aren't going to like what I'm going to say. There's a part of me, it's like, do we really want to import that much gas from from Norway and LNG there? That is bugging me a little bit in the back of my mind. I'm not going to lie.
But look at the red slice there. Liquefied natural gas, the stuff you need to load onto tankers in Qatar, the stuff that gets shipped over from the other side of the world, the stuff that's now not coming out of Qatar, is providing 46% of UK gas.
If that becomes the case, that's really bad for us, because that literally puts us at the mercy of the Strait of Hormuz. That puts us at the mercy of them, and I don't want to be in that situation personally.
46%, actually the biggest chunk of all. But now imagine that line I showed you where it doesn't go down like that, it kind of goes like that. Now imagine that's the case, and here's how things look. Look how much bigger the slice coming from the UK is. It's actually accounting for 57%, so the majority of UK gas comes from the UK North Sea.
Now, obviously, that's a big, bold prediction and estimate. If we got rid of all the red tape and whatnot for the gas companies and allowed them to dig and drill and all that kind of stuff, right? But we are not relying as much on Norway and LGN there. But that's a massive hypothetical. Massive hypothetical. It is fascinating.
How does that happen? It's basically because the amount of gas that we want is also going down. So even though that line's going down, the demand line's going down as well, and it's going down even more quickly. So more than half of our gas could come from the North Sea, if this best case scenario is to be believed, and only 6% from liquefied natural gas. And that matters for two reasons. It matters, first of all, because you're less dependent on those imported tankers, which we're all getting a kind of living lesson in why that matters. But secondly, liquefied natural gas is it's quite expensive, and it's quite carbon emitting. So right now, this is how much our emissions from gas are, 27 kilograms per barrel of oil equivalent. That's the kind of equivalent today. But if you assume we're going to depend on a lot more LNG in the future, which is kind of what the baseline assumption is, then we have far more kind of carbon-intensive gas than we would otherwise have. If, on the other hand, you assume, as this kind of scenario does, that we have more North Sea oil and gas, our total carbon emissions from gas are actually lower than they would otherwise be.
But but here's the other thing. This is coming from the OEUK. This is a think tank. This is a base that wants more oil and gas produced in the UK. And now, are they doing do I honestly think, can we actually trust the OEUK, this source, for the benefit of the UK, or are they doing this and producing this with the intention of feeding this narrative, which is what Ed Conway is talking about here, that it would actually be environmentally better for us if we drilled the gas, if we took the gas from our own sector rather than getting it from Qatar, which is the argument I think is what Ed Conway is projecting here. Potentially, you could see Reform and Conservatives use this analysis as a base to argue for more drilling in the North Sea, for more gas exploration, for more reduce of red tape. Saying, but technicality, we're actually going to be reducing. They'll argue in the technicality, we'll actually be reducing. We'll be reducing our emissions because we're less reliant on LNG. I'm not sure if I buy that.
So you can make this strange, unexpected argument, which oil producers are making right now, that it could be better for the environment to do more drilling in the North Sea. It's kind of crazy, really, isn't it? But nonetheless, that's the argument. The final thing, I suspect you've been wondering this throughout, but OK, what does it actually mean for gas prices? And here's where there's, I'm afraid, a little bit of a bummer, which is, this is showing you European gas prices. I'm going to superimpose American gas prices, and I imagine if you're in Europe, you're going to get very depressed when you see this. That's American gas prices. And why are American gas prices so much lower than they are in Europe? Well, a big part of it is the fact that you have a lot of fracking in America, and that fracking has produced loads of gas, and that gas means that America is basically energy independent, at least when it comes to gas.
I hate this analysis. I fucking hate this analysis. You know why? Because Reform can plant this all over the fucking country and basically say to people, they can put this graph in front of them and say, see, we need fracking to keep gas prices down. This is why we need fracking. I fucking hate this analysis. I really, really do.
But Europe is not energy independent. And I showed you a moment ago, even if we have that best case scenario, we're still not going to be energy independent in the UK. And frankly, even if we did, even if we were producing loads of gas in Britain, more than we ever expected, we just made loads of discoveries out there in the North Sea, even if Norway did the same, we are still plugged into this market. What you're looking at is a map of Europe with all of the different gas pipelines all over the place. We're plugged into this continent, and the continent is not energy independent. It's hard to see a way that it would become energy independent. And that is the issue that we're faced with at the moment. However, if you did have more North Sea oil, you'd have more revenue coming in. Remember that chart I showed you right at the start? And everything could look a little bit different. But of course, this is such a contentious issue, given that the government's stated policy in the manifesto is to ban new exploration and new licenses in the North Sea. So we'll see how this goes in the coming weeks.
I hate this. I really, really hate that piece. I know it was a long one, guys, but I really do think it was I do think that it was worth reading this and taking this in on board, because here's a really important point I want people to understand here, right? We have got to know the strong points of the likes of Reform and the Conservatives, right? We need to know what their strong points and strong argument cases are going to be. And we need to know how to counter these narratives. And it's really important for us to know them. And Ed Conway has given exposure to, Reform will look at this and they will take the bits that will benefit them. The Conservatives will look at this and take the bits that will benefit them as well. And they will try hard to make the argument and cases. And this is where we have to learn from this and take the analysis from our part back on this. I do think it's really, I know it was a long one, but I really wanted to share that piece with you guys there. Stephen Moore says there is no point in arguing over what to do with what is left. It's going to run out sooner or later, and we need to prepare ourselves for that day. We simply refuse to face reality. I agree, Steve. I do agree with that. I do agree with that assessment. The case, I suppose the case and argument that Ed Conway is making with the analysis is that, well, we can't control what goes on outside the UK, right? Just like New Zealand can't control what goes on outside of their area, right? And of course, it's going to run out sooner or later. That is true. But another argument point is, well, is it worth us pushing a bit more, taking everything that we've got in and around our area so that we can still rely on it? Like what other countries do, we can't control them. Like Qatar and on all these other countries, they're going to keep drilling and whatnot. But the counter argument, of course, and I keep having this counter argument in my mind, of course, is that, well, this is going to put there's this argument of money and the environment, helping us bring down the cost of living and whatnot. We need more revenue, basically. And is this something, if we did this, is this something that's going to bring in more revenue? And hand on heart, I'm going to say no, because I just feel like a lot of if we did what he said and got rid of all the red tape and the taxes and all that kind of stuff on the oil gas companies, I just don't see that money coming back into our coffers. I just don't believe it. I don't buy that these companies will put the money back into our economy. I just don't trust them. I just feel like all they're going to do is just take all that money and run away with it. I just don't personally buy it. I personally don't. I could be wrong, but I just don't personally buy it, and that's just me on that there. Hi Martin, good to see you there. Hope you're doing well. Does this guy know about wind and water? Yes, he does, Mel. He does, Mel. But I think, it's an interesting analysis piece nonetheless. Steve, thank you so much for the 20 New Zealand dollars. That's very kind of you. Thank you so much. That's very kind. Really, really appreciate that. Thank you. Don't think that graph will stand up to scrutiny. Imagine you had your own oil refinery and was a mass exporter, says Mr. E. America's energy independence for how long? Especially because we are investing massively in renewables just like China. Yeah, they're going to fall really far back once they run out. They will run out at some point. No way, Stephen Baker. Thanks for popping in. Europe is a decade ahead of the US, and China is 2 decades ahead of the US. That's true there. Yeah, absolutely. We need to invest and produce more renewable energy for all the reasons, political, environmental, commercial. We cannot rely on fossil fuels and a dying economic model. No, we can't. And we have to keep making that argument point here. My worry is that analysis pieces like this give justification for us to continue that kind of stuff. And let's hope that doesn't turn out to be the case down the road there. We spent far too much time on this than we needed to, and I apologize, guys. So let's go back to the war in Iran. I think I want to start with this clip here. Sky News did have they got a report here from inside Tehran. I believe it's in Tehran here. So some Iranian people were speaking about what's happening with regards to the ongoing conflict there. Now, obviously, it's worth bearing in mind that whatever we hear from the people inside Iran, no one is going to say anything bad about the regime on camera inside Iran, because that would mean they would get beheaded. There was a story literally this morning where after 2 ministers were killed, there was a mass raids across the country going after anyone who has a whiff of intelligence or working in any way, shape or form with Israel/America. Lots of people have been arrested. So no one is going to talk bad about the Iranian regime inside Iran. You're just not going to see that. So take a pinch of salt with what you hear.
What does your poster say here?
It's a poet from Ferdowsi. It is said, if we are killed, all of us, one by one are killed, it's better than giving our country to the enemy. And this is what we believe since centuries ago. We will stand. It is our country. We will not surrender. Those who wish our surrender will die without seeing their wish.
Please tell Trump these people are not AI. The people open their eyes and see these people. We are defend our country.
What's your message to Britain? You said you lived in Britain. What's your message to Britain?
To Britain? I had good time there. I was a student, but I think the Prime Minister is not quite right. You know, he says that I'm not getting involved in the war, in Iran war, but he lets Trump and United States Army to use the bases in Cyprus. So stop it.
And I think, this is an argument point that many of you have made about, like, she's now living in Iran. She used to be living in Britain, and now she's living in Iran. And this point of, well, if Britain wasn't allowing the bases in our bases to be used by America, perhaps her tone would be very different. I think a lot of people's tones would be quite different on it as well. That is for sure. This is really, really infuriating. So, Tulsi Gabbard was at a committee hearing today, and she was asked a question about Russian intelligence sharing with Iran, basically. And obviously, you know, something like that is very, very important information. There's obviously lots of new. I think it's not classified to say that there isn't intelligence. Like, to any idea that there isn't intelligence sharing between Iran and Russia is just foolhardy here. And King obviously puts the question to her. And obviously, she would answer as a typical MAGA Trump administration poodle does, by not answering the question or dodging it and making life difficult for all of us, I'm afraid.
Update us on the intelligence on Russian intelligence sharing with Iran in the current conflict. What do we know?
Senator, if there is that sharing going on, that would be an answer that would be appropriate for a closed session.
Well, it's been in the public press. This is open source that it's occurring. Is it occurring?
Again, if it is occurring, that would be an answer appropriate for a closed session. What I can tell you is that according to the Department of War, any support that Iran may be receiving is not inhibiting their operational effects.
What you're supposed to say is, yes, of course there is. We're fully aware that Russia are working with Iran. And if you didn't know that, you'd be a fucking idiot. And why would I say that, guys? Well, for a long time, whenever I've covered short videos and whenever I've talked about the war in Ukraine, what type of drones were Russia consistently using attacking Ukraine? They were using Shalar-type drones. Drones designed by, guess who? Iran. So there's always been that there for years. Even before these clowns who were put in the circus, that is the White House, it was always public knowledge. The fact that she can't even answer as simple as a basic question as this, all because they don't want to upset their Russian masters. Like, literally, like they don't want, like, it's just embarrassing. I hate it. Gabbard is working on her future case in court when she will have to explain her job. Yep, she's a dead woman walking. I'm going to share this clip a bit later. I don't want to share that one just now. This is a very good one here. This is a brilliant one here about what's been happening, and there's a reason why it's gotten so many views. Apologies for the noise in the background. There is some noise in the background. I'm just warning you now, guys.
Why are you against the war in Iran?
Why are we against the war in Iran?
Yeah, I just want to know.
There was no reason for the war in Iran. It was a war of choice, which by definition means you're killing people for no good reason. They were not attacking us. As a matter of fact, my parents lived through World War II. That generation found it really morally reprehensible that Japanese diplomats were in Washington, D.C. when Pearl Harbor was attacked. They felt that's really disgusting. We were standing in the back while they were talking to us.
Yeah, so for a little bit of context of history there. So everyone remembers the famous Pearl Harbor attack done by the Japanese army. This is at the same time that Japanese diplomats were in Washington with America. Yeah. Just, yeah.
And now we did that to the Iranians. We were negotiating with them, and we attacked them while we were talking to them. We were acting like the fascist Japanese of the 40s.
Why are you...
It's true. It's true. Well, I would say, I say Americans. I always like to point it's the government, not the people. So, you know, and it's just so frustrating indeed. Just a reminder that Power to the People Graham Price will be joining us as well for the roundtable tomorrow, guys. Not just One Angry Pagan Daily Blase. Sorry, I did say that at the start, Ellie. If you didn't catch that there. I just haven't updated the thumbnail there. But thank you for the plugs of all the YouTubers. Appreciate it. We were only following others will be a popular excuse, just like in Nuremberg. Yep. She's a rat. She is most definitely a rat, 234. She is most definitely a rat. She is definitely a rat. For sure. Here she is again. I'm sure she can make perfectly justifiable stuff here. Let's hear the so-called. Well, actually, I'm not going to call her a rat because it's disrespectful to rats. They're actually some very nice rats. So I'm sure we can think of something a bit more appropriate. Let's not discredit rats, guys. Rats are far better than this person.
Under the law, you are responsible for providing national intelligence to the president, correct?
Yes.
And to the heads of executive branch departments and agencies, yes?
Yes.
And to the chairman of the Joint Chiefs and senior military commanders?
Across the IC, yes.
And to the Senate and the House and relevant committees, correct?
Yes.
And the law states that the national intelligence you provide to Congress, quote, should be timely, objective, and independent of political considerations, correct?
Yes.
And you noted in your opening statement you're here fulfilling a statutory responsibility and that your testimony, quote, represents the IC's assessment of threats,
That's right.
correct? That opening statement, as submitted to the committee in advance of this hearing, stated that as a result of last summer's airstrikes, quote, Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated, end quote, correct?
That's right.
And is that in fact the assessment of the intelligence community?
Yes.
So the assessment of the intelligence community is that Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated by last summer's airstrikes.
Yes.
In the opening statement you submitted to the committee last night also stated, quote, there has been no effort since then to try to rebuild their enrichment capability, end quote, correct?
That's right.
And that's the assessment of the intelligence community.
Yes.
The White House stated on March 1st of this year that this war was launched and was, quote, a military campaign to eliminate the imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, end quote. That's a statement from the White House. Quote, the imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime. Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was an imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime?
It's one, I don't know how she's going to answer. But one thing I do know is that if you're going to, you're going to stick to one story, at least get everyone else in line with your story. But we know that this Trump administration has been switching their stories ever since this war started.
The intelligence community assessed that Iran maintained the intention to rebuild and to continue to grow their nuclear enrichment capability.
Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, yes or no?
Senator, the only person who can...
The answer is no, and you know you can't say no, because if you say no, you're going to upset the orange tangerine. But don't worry, he's minding cognitive decline.
Determine what is and is not an imminent threat is the president.
False.
And
This is the
determination.
worldwide threats hearing where you present to Congress national intelligence, timely, objective, and independent of political considerations. You've stated today that the intelligence community's assessment is that Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated and that, quote, there had been no efforts since then to try to rebuild their enrichment capability. Was it the intelligence community's assessment that nevertheless, despite this obliteration, there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime? Yes or no?
It is not the intelligence community's responsibility to determine what is and is not an imminent threat.
Okay.
That is up to the
Here's
president
the problem.
based on a volume
No,
of
it is
information
precisely
that he receives.
it is precisely your responsibility to determine what constitutes a threat to the United States. This is the worldwide threats hearing.
But it's the president. We can't upset the Donny, guys. We can't upset the president. It's because they're preserving their own. It's a little big planet, says Mr. E. Yeah, it's insane. I wish sometimes I was a bit more Portuguese and carefree. Lol. Dear oh dear. We also export vast amounts of timber to China, says Steve. Japan and Canada's very artificial plutoniums of pine here in New Zealand. Very conventional because it uses existing farmland, and you export it. Yeah, if you can, yeah, that's very good. Thank you for sharing that, Mr. E. So yeah, you have some constantly growing something, making something, and selling it, exporting it, and making money off it. Yeah, It's very conventional that large amounts of farmland are being turned over to forestry because it's a quick hit when it comes to profits. Yeah, money makes the world go round, doesn't it? That money gets the world go round. So yeah, the forestry is a bigger priority for. So correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, but forestry is a bigger priority than farmland because it brings more revenue in to the New Zealand government. Is that correct? I'm assuming that's what the way it's coming across there. New Zealand is treated just like us. You hit the nail on the head. Farmland is essential. Yeah, farmland is essential. Absolutely. There. I think I had one. Are those ones? Oh my God! Excuse me. That made me jump. Sorry about that. Is that all the ones I have on the Iran war? Yeah, I didn't have too many. I mean, I got a Macron basically saying that he didn't want that we're not in that France did not want to be in this war and whatnot. But I don't think that's really a story worth sharing because we kind of already know that anyway. I think we kind of already kind of gathered that here. Where's the? I just want to grab one or two UK ones with regard to the the Iran war here. So, Jeremy Corbyn, of course, Mr. Anti-War. One of the few good politicians there, but he does have his fair share of baggage. He was speaking about Britain being directly involved in Trump's illegal war on Iran. This is what he had to say in Parliament.
In this overarching statement on the Middle East by the Foreign Secretary, it's surprising she didn't take the opportunity to condemn the continuing genocide in Gaza, the brutality of the occupation of the West Bank, the destruction of Palestinian villages there, and the invasion of Lebanon by Israel, and the continued supply of British weapons. Trump has declared war on Iran without any war objective or war plan. We are involved in that. And can she end this nonsense about whether we're sending defensive or offensive strikes from this country? The reality is, if a bomber takes off from RAF Fairford and bombs civilian targets in Iran, we are involved in that act of aggression against the people of Iran. Shouldn't we join Spain and say no to the USA?
The answer is yes, but unfortunately we're not going to do that. The general answer, of course, is yes on that indeed. Some other clips from the... I wanted to share some other different ones here with the UK from the UK before we go back to America as well. Thank you guys for the links there. Obviously, I really appreciate that, guys. Yep. Yeah, do check out Zhao's YouTube channel. Yeah, really do indeed. Oh, I do like this clip from LBC here. Just a kind of reminder of Kemi Badenoch and her U-turn here. You know, this was somebody saying, "Oh, we should always get behind. We should get behind Trump and the war, guys. We should have get behind Trump and the war." And then,
I'm Keir Starmer's biggest critic. There's a lot of stuff that I believe that he's done wrong, but the words coming from the White House are completely wrong. I think it's actually quite childish. There is a lot that can be said behind closed doors. We need to be strengthening the relationship between the UK and the US, irrespective of who is president or who is prime minister. But I think those words coming from the White House were childish.
Any idea what she's actually saying there? And given that we were supposed to support Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu completely at the beginning of this outbreak, I genuinely have absolutely no idea what she was saying, except that behind closed doors she could say things that she can't say out in the open, which is a very odd position for a leader of the opposition to take, because they can say whatever they want behind closed doors.
I'm kissed on.
Yeah, it's because she doesn't want to upset the orange tangerine. She wants to keep the Republicans and the Trump MAGA supporters on her side. They're saying, yeah, we're with you guys. We're with you guys. Just not publicly, behind closed doors. Yeah, we're behind closed doors. Yeah, we're with you. But not but publicly, like yeah. We're not really too on board with the comments. But behind closed doors, it's totally fine. Totally fine. At least she's trying. Yeah, she's trying, but it doesn't really change anything there. Excuse me. I'll go share some other different clips here. So a couple of random ones before we go back to America here. This is a piece from Channel 4. Why is Israel ordering 200,000 Lebanese to evacuate from Tai? As Israel moves further and further into Lebanon to strike at Hezbollah's targets, many people are choosing to stay at home because there are already over 1 million people displaced in this war and nearly 100,000 people dead. Guys, I've already covered the story on, I think it was on Rumble or Patreon, one of the two outlets, and I do recommend checking out the full video. But I covered the story today that on a daily basis, so everyone kicked off obviously about the what happened with the strike on the school in Iran, allegedly by the United States, with the terrible loss of over 100 plus schoolgirls losing their lives, which is an absolute disgusting, terrible tragedy that should have never had happened, and whoever responsible needs to be owned up for it. But that also, what also is that lots of children have died in what's happened inside Gaza. It doesn't get talked about. What's happening in Sudan as well. Lots of children have been killed with what's going on in that conflict. And on a daily basis in Lebanon, schools are getting targeted. Children are getting killed on a daily basis by Israel in Lebanon. There's a genuine piece, I think it's from Al Jazeera or Middle East Now, one of the two outlets that had a report on it. Daily. Not like, oh, we hit a school by mistake or whatever. I'm talking every single day children are dying as a direct result of the strikes by Israel on Lebanon.
Despite the destruction, many people in Tyre, the city of 200,000, have decided they're not going to go anywhere, they're going to stay. Israel has said that everyone should leave, should evacuate, should go somewhere. Where? People aren't sure, because already more than 1 million Lebanese have been displaced. Some are sleeping in tents, some are sleeping in their cars, some are trying to rent places. And it's not just the bombing. Israel is now staging incursions into Lebanon, almost like an invasion. They say that they're going to move further and further north, up to the Litani, and they say they're going to turn that into an expanded buffer zone. What they mean by that is an area where Hezbollah cannot fire rockets into Israel. But what the Lebanese say is, that's Lebanon. Those are our villages. Those are the places where we live. Yet the Israelis seem absolutely determined this time that they're going to occupy that area. They say that they are going to make sure that Hezbollah is destroyed. That's causing immense problems here, not just the humanitarian problems, but problems within the Lebanese government. The Lebanese government is pleading with Hezbollah to stop firing into Israel because that risks the destruction of all of Lebanon. But Hezbollah says, we're the resistance. We are the only ones standing against Israel. And that leaves the population of this country divided.
Well, unfortunately, what she doesn't say in her report, and I know Channel 4 are very, very one of the most reliable ones, is that's not what Israel's full plan is. They are not just going to create a so-called buffer zone. That is a smokescreen for annexation. They are going to annex that part of the country. What's going to happen is they're going to occupy that territory around the south of Lebanon, all the way up to the Latni River, and then after a while, they're just going to say, oh, it's our land. Oh, we've been here long enough. And they're going to start, and they'll do exactly what they're doing in the West Bank and exactly what they're going to start doing in parts of Gaza, and that start kicking all the Lebanese people out, and then they'll start building their own homes and whatnot, and they're going to start, putting settlements in and all this kind of stuff, and they're going to start saying, oh, well, I guess it's our land now. That's what's going to happen. That is what's going to happen. Greater Israel, guys. Greater Israel. I've got to laugh at this one. You've got to get a laugh out of this, guys. So last month, the Scottish Labour leader, Anis Sarwar, called for Sir Keir Starmer to step down as Prime Minister over his appointment of Lord Mandelson as US Ambassador. Here's Beth Rigby sits down with him here. This first question is just hilarious.
How are things between you and Keir Starmer now? Presumably quite frosty.
Look, no, I've got a good relationship with Keir. I mean, as I said at that press conference, that was, of course, politically hard.
Yes, yes. Oh, yes. You have a great relationship with the Prime Minister. Yeah, yeah. We're still best buddies, guys. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We're still best buddies. Even I know I kind of called for him to go, guys. I know I kind of called for him to go, but we're all right, guys. We're still best buddies. We're still all good. All things good, guys. It's all good.
But actually, the politics of it was easier than the personal, because Keir Starmer is someone that I know, someone that I like, someone that I call a friend.
You like him so much you wanted him to go. What a great friend you are.
And someone who I've spent a lot of time with. I know he is a good, decent man that wants to do the best by this country. So that was a very, very difficult position for me to take.
Him.
You said you're good. He's a good, decent man. So good and decent that I called him up and told him, you have to go. Like, I know we're buddies. I know we're friends. I know you're a good, decent man. But you've just got to go, bud. You got to go, mate. Like, I know you're a good, decent man, but you've got to go. Is anyone buying this shit?
Before, didn't you, to tell him you were going to do it?
I did speak to him before, that's right.
And was he angry?
Well, of course, he was going to be taken negatively. Of course, he was going to be angry. But I think in fairness to him and to other members of the Cabinet, that hasn't meant the dialogue has stopped. We still have very positive conversations about what's right for Scotland and how we...
Positive conversations, guys. He has positive conversations with Keir Starmer after that. Do you honestly buy that?
We can make sure UK Labour government is delivering
You
for Scotland.
presumably don't personally have one-on-one phone calls with him anymore, though, do you?
I've spoken to him a couple of times that week. I've not spoken to him since that week, but...
Yeah, because, like, he's my friend, he's a decent man, but he won't take my phone calls anymore now. Yeah, I mean, I've sent him WhatsApp messages, and he's not responding now, and it's like, I don't know, I feel like I've been left on my own. You know, it's almost like, I've got no friends, maybe that's what it is, Anasawa, maybe, just maybe.
I'm in regular communication with him, yes.
I mean, it could have gone another way if people had come out in support of you, and he could have been a goner.
Well, that's for other people to think about their own views and own positions. But what I'm really clear about is my first priority and my first loyalty is to my country, Scotland. And I will work with anyone to make sure we're delivering for Scotland. And that includes the Prime Minister.
Yeah, because you're doing a great job, aren't you? It's doing so great that people just want you to just simply fuck off. Because that's what I'm hearing a lot of from Scottish voters about you. Your party is not looking very good in the polls. Let's just be absolutely clear on that. This is brilliant. I sent this to Max because I thought this was really, really good. This is really, really good, guys. Can we ship in Australian journalists? Because the course, this one was one of them. Their entire country is better than our national media than we are. This is obviously it's an American handler, this, but I just thought this was just absolutely brilliant. Just take this in, guys. Just take this in. We could do with these kind of journalists in the UK as well, guys. Never mind just America.
Just following on from that and your point about indulging in real politics now, why doesn't Europe go to Trump and say, if you want assistance in the Gulf, here's what we want you to do on Ukraine?
I think it's a really good idea. I might pick you up on that. No, I think it's actually a really good idea. So,
I'm available for advice.
Can my team take your phone number, please? No, but I mean, yeah. I'll think about it. I'll talk about it with my colleagues. Some of them are here in London today.
Can we get her? Where is she? Can we get this? Can we get this? Can we duplicate her? Can we replace some of our journalists with her? Like, come on. What a great question. Like, makes sense. Okay, Trump, you want us to help you with the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, what are you going to do for Ukraine? What are you going to do for Ukraine? It's a great question. It's a really good question. This is absolutely brilliant. Now, this one here, guys, I have to answer you the question. and I think I know the answer, and I think you guys know too. Is Reform UK breaking some breaking some potential laws here with what they're offering here? So Robert Jenrick launches a competition where Nigel Farage will pay for a year's worth of household energy bills for an entire street. That sounds like bribery to voters, doesn't it, guys?
But we're asking people to go online, go to the website that we're launching this morning, www.nigelcutmybills.com.
What a stupid website. Don't type that in, guys. Have some... if you're listening to this or here on the YouTube channel, have some dignity and respect by not typing that in.
You'll see our plan to bring down people's bills there. How we get...
Yeah. It'll just be some It'll be some chat GPT nonsense, by the way.
Going to scrap the heating tax. How we're going to ensure that we get rid of Ed Miliband's taxes and levies. How we're going to end the madness of net zero. And if you give us your details on that website...
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Give your details, guys. And by the way, for those referencing, that's your full name. That's your address. That's your email. That's your telephone number. Those are the details you need to join to take part in this, guys. Your real... What... You know... Do you have, like... Yeah, giving your personal information. And also, you obviously have a ticker box to say you consent to this as well. You have to say you consent to doing this as well. What could possibly go wrong with giving your personal information to reform Russia?
In the next week or two, we're going to draw one of those names. And Nigel is going to come to your house. And he's going to pay your energy bills and those of everyone who live on your street for an entire year.
There is absolutely no way that there's going to be some random street. Adair, where is Nigel and Clacton? When I heard about the competition, it is limited to one house, not a street, and it is someone Farage doesn't like. They'll run it again. Nigel cut my bills. RSPC yet to respond. He don't even sound like a politician. No, the grift is strong. The grift is very strong. The grift is very strong. Okay, so you're hearing that it's not on the street, not an entire street then. So Jenrick was lying about that then. We just call it what it is. It's bribery. It's bribery. Vote for us, and we'll give you free money. We'll give you free money. We'll just give you free money. Here's the Finnish president, Alexander Stubb, as well. We heard him speaking earlier here, saying what everyone, just remind everyone that Brexit was a complete and total fuck up. But obviously he is very neutral as well.
Brexit was a colossal mistake. I was expecting applause on the note. No, you're just worried what I'm going to say next. I am too diplomatic to express exactly what I think about those who promoted Brexit during the campaign and those who still think that Brexit is a good thing.
That's because you are a respectable man, but you will keep your respectable views, you'll keep your real views behind closed doors, because that's how good of a man you are, and Finnish people are educated very, very well.
It is not for me to say, because I still come from the outside. I'm the only person in our family who doesn't have dual nationality. But I do think it's not only shooting yourself in the foot, but it's like amputating your leg without a medical reason for doing it.
Yep, that's a good way of doing it. We shot ourselves in the foot, and rather than the surgeon asking for the surgeon saying, "Can we give you a hand with that?" No, we don't want nothing to do with you. Stay away, stay away. That's definitely Nigel Farage and reform. Dear, oh dear, dear. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. This was very nice. For those who didn't see, this was dropped today led by donkeys here. The Donald J. Trump Institute of Peace. Let's see what Led by Donkeys had for us today here, guys.
The U.S. Institute of Peace now has a new name, the Donald J. Trump Institute of Peace.
Everyone says that I should get the Nobel Peace Prize for each one of these achievements.
Nigeria, Venezuela, Iraq, Somalia, Yemen, Syria, and Iran. No president in the modern era has ordered more military strikes against as many different countries as Trump.
Yeah, that's definitely peace, Donny. Definitely peace. By the way, guys, we still haven't reached our super chat goal. If we want to help get to tonight's super chat goal, it'd be greatly appreciated, guys. I do appreciate everyone being here in the chat tonight.
And I said, why did we just capture the ship? We could have used it. Why did we sink them? He said, it's more fun to sink them. I said, that's not stupid. They like sinking them better.
Yeah. Blowing ships up is much more funner than capturing them there, guys. Who cares about the lives on that ship, guys? Let's just blow them up instead.
Death and destruction from the sky all day long. We are punching them while they're down, which is exactly how it should be.
We have a breaking update on the Pentagon's preliminary investigation into a strike on a school in Iran, which killed at least 175 people, most of them children.
It's a preliminary report, but if this is the final conclusion, this will be one of the largest killings of civilians by mistake by American forces in decades. Again, 175 people killed, according to Iranian officials, most of them children.
Everyone says that I should get the Nobel Peace Prize for each one of these achievements.
Yep. Institute of War. Thank you, led by donkeys, for that. Understand that if you say it 3 times while looking into a mirror, Farage appears. Do not say that. Do not make him appear. That would be very bad. Be very bad indeed. The Board of Peace, Department of War people, yeah. President in pieces, yeah, indeed. Those bombs look peaceful. The shock waves rocks people to sleep peacefully, says Sarah Davis. Yeah, indeed. Indeed. Speaking of Nigel Farage, because you actually jinxed it. Well done. This is brilliant. The Guardian has published a Nigel Farage cameo complication featuring him using extremist slogans, guys. Yeah, Nigel Farage, you know, and his cameo appearances, of course, definitely nothing wrong with them at all, guys. Definitely nothing wrong at all.
Doing what you do, for fuck's sake, you cunt. It's absolutely rotten. All I can say is keep your head up. Keep believing in the right things. Keep acting in the right way. You never know. You might walk out saying road rage terror tour is the best thing that ever happened. Now, remember, if in doubt, kick 'em out. If in doubt, keep 'em out is a motto you believe in. You're simpering for Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez's big naturals. Doing what you do.
He will say anything for money. I want someone out there to pay him a cameo for him to talk about how great Zach Polanski and the Green Party are. I don't think he would do it, but it would be funny if he did. Nigel is more and more like Lovecraftian evil character, says Jal. Oh, absolutely terrible. Lee Anderson could be in hot water, guys. This was 5 hours ago. Lee Anderson allegedly broke parliamentary rules on commercial filming after recording cameo videos for Valentine's Day in his parliamentary office. But it gets worse, guys. This is one of the most terrible Valentine's cameos I have ever heard. And then this is the first Valentine's cameo I've ever heard. And the fact that you're asking Lee bloody Anderson to do it, I don't know what to say, guys.
Hi Claire, it is Lee Anderson, the Reform UK Member of Parliament, and I've got a very, very special Valentine's message from a chap called Gary, and he says he loves you very much. In fact, he loves you more than you will ever know. He adores you, he worships you, you're the best thing that's ever happened. There's not a second goes by in each day where he's not thinking about you and the happy times you've had together. Absolutely worships you. And he also says, get back in that kitchen and get some food on and get them pots done. Happy Valentine's Day, Claire.
Motherfucker. Motherfucker to say that at the end. I don't know how legit that is. If that is a legit Valentine's, dude, I'm just going to say this to Gary. You don't fucking deserve that woman. I'm just saying that now, guys. I'm just putting that on the record. I'm just going to put that on the record. Yeah, I'm just putting my piece on the record. I do want to share. Where is that clip I had? I didn't delete it, did I? Where is the one of... there's a very important one I wanted to share. That's the... Is it in the... Is it... Did I leave it out of this? Yeah, I did. Sausages. We got about 5 minutes left because I didn't want to go over half past if I could help it. Where is it? I wanted to share this, guys, because it's... where is it? There it is. Marjorie Taylor Greene shared this, and you know, I'm just going to play the clip.
The consequences of this war are real. Why are our sons and daughters coming home in caskets for Israel? I witnessed this coming home to the Bay Area yesterday, and it was so heartbreaking. Why?
I fucking hate war. They've lost a loved one for Israel. Not for America, as it is painted in that flag. Not for America, for Israel. Should have replaced the fucking flag with an Israeli one. Just boils my blood. Sorry, I have to use the device I'm using is, excuse me, low on battery. So, 1 second. Caveman speaks. Yeah, indeed. Stephen Mon, thank you so much for the 5 New Zealand dollars. Thank you so much for your support. It's very kind of you. Thank you. You're already generous tonight with your 20. Thank you. They're using the American model of pushing boundaries. There. Isn't against ministerial code to do videos in Parliament buildings? Yes, which is why, that's why they're stating allegedly there. There needs to be investigation on that. Needs to be investigation on that. I would never forgive my country. Yeah. I would actually immigrate and deny my nationality. Yeah. I absolutely hate it too, guys. I hate it too. So where is that? There is one clip of Donald Trump. There's a lot of clips of Donald Trump I have. There's a lot of clips of Donald Trump, to be fair. But I wanted to share this one, and then I want to share the response from Gavin Newsom's wife on this. So the president called Gavin Newsom the president of the United States, which could be an omen for the future. Saying it's getting embarrassing. He's losing it faster than any of us have thought he would. But that's not the thing. That's what bothers me here.
The President of the United States, Gavin Newsom, admitted that he has learning disabilities, dyslexia, everything about him is dumb. But then he looked at the audience and said, "But I'm smarter than you," or something like that. There was.
He's making fun of people with disabilities, okay? Of people with disabilities, right? So, he goes on to say a lot of things about he talks more about this, but I wanted to share a piece from Gary Newsom's wife. So Newsom's wife Jennifer responded to it, and I wanted to share it with you guys because I thought it was important. We're going to do one more clip after this, then we're going to wrap up because we've hit 1:30 here. Thank you again, Steve McMillan, for the $5 New Zealand dollars. That's really, really kind of you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your support. For some dumb reason, there we go. I was able to press the like button on it. Thank you so much again. That's really, really kind of you. I appreciate your support. Was considering a potential breach of parliamentary rules regarding the use of the parliamentary estate for commercial purposes. It's exactly what it is. Yes, if it is in the building, but we'll find out obviously if it is or not. But let me share this response from Gary Newsom's wife with regards to the clip I just shared with you guys.
I just witnessed Donald Trump's comments about learning disabilities and my husband, Gavin Newsom, and I honestly had to take a beat. Suggesting that someone with dyslexia or any learning difference for that matter is somehow less capable of leading or achieving is extremely ignorant and offensive. Mm-hmm. Dyslexia is not a measure of intelligence. In fact, quite the contrary, and learning differences do not determine someone's potential. On the contrary, some of the most successful leaders in business and the world have dyslexia. Day in and day out, Trump says things that make him unfit for office. He degrades our vulnerable communities, our institutions, even the Constitution itself. And somehow we're told to ignore it, turn a blind eye, pretend everything is normal. Guess what? It's not. And we're fed up. As someone who grew up in a Republican household, shame on the Republican Party for normalizing this vile specimen of a human being stationed at the top of their party. There are millions of kids in this country with learning differences who are already working twice as hard to keep up. Kids who are trying to believe in themselves. I know this personally. A few of my children learn differently. I see the emotions, the toll, the coping mechanisms, the extra hours, the grit it takes them every single day. And I know they're going to be fabulous. Learning differences don't make you less intelligent. They don't make you less capable. And they certainly don't make you less worthy of leadership. They make you special. And honestly, if we're going to talk about what's disqualifying in a leader, let's talk about that. A convicted felon, a man found liable for sexual abuse, a man notorious for degrading female journalists, a man with a track record for bankrupting businesses, a man whose name has shown up thousands of times in the Epstein files, a man who sends masked extremists to terrorize Black and brown communities and rip kids away from their families, the most corrupt president in our nation's history. Everything that Donald Trump represents is frankly beyond disqualifying.
It's true, pretty much. Pretty much. Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more there. Fuck it, I'm going to share 2 funny videos with you guys just because I recognise it. But yeah, lovely speech from her there. Very, very lovely speech from her. Well said indeed. Viper Scott, thank you for the £2 super chat, listening in there. Appreciate it. Hi all, been listening from the start, just too busy. No worries, my friend. I appreciate you listening in. Let me, for some reason, I can't click the like button there, so there we go. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm glad. I hope you are doing well, my friend. Thank you for that super chat. Much appreciated. I had dyslexia with mathematics. It's not fun at all. Still need to battle it sometimes. Hey, I've still got I have I think I do have a dyslexia because I definitely had. It's not just my temper issues I have when I was younger. I think I definitely have dyslexia. I can't remember. I don't know if it was. If I've got something. I'm definitely. There's definitely something there with me for sure. Mr. E, thank you so much for the £2 super chat. I really appreciate getting to the goal. And thank you again, Viper Scott, for that. We're going to keep up with the work. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. That's really, really kind of you. We've gone over time, but I wanted to. I didn't want to end in a negative, guys. So I wanted to do a funny video, but we're going to do 2 funny videos, guys. So let me get to them because I want to go on the Discord. So if you guys want to head over to Discord after when we're finished with these videos, you can do. I'll remind you in just a moment. But check. I want to share these 2 AI videos with you guys. Here's the first one here. So you guys remember there was a funny video of an AI president of Venezuelan president of El Championto or something. Well, they've done it with well, I'm just gonna play it, guys. Oh dear.
Salam alaikum habibis.
This is Donala J. Ayat Trump speaking, inshallah. From now on, I am your new Ayatollah. To the Iranian people, Azadi, freedom is coming. Trust me. We're going to make Iran Kabir again. Your oil, beautiful oil, is safe with me. Wallah, nobody protects oil like Trump. Soon we celebrate with a big cello kebab festival. Everyone saying, mashallah, shukran, salam alaikum, habibis.
All these AI videos, yes, there's just too much sometimes, guys. Oh, dear, oh dear, oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. This is a good one. You know, this is the last one, guys. Last video, then we're done. Last video.
No.
No.
No. No. No. No. What? Call Zelensky.
Oh, Mr. President, hello.
Zelensky, please help me to open the Hormuz Strait.
Sorry, Donald, you don't have the cards right now. You are not in a good position.
You don't have the cards. Sorry, Mr. President, you don't have the cards. We're not playing cards. Remember, you said we weren't playing cards. You don't have the cards anymore. Sorry. Sorry, we can't help you. We can't help you. Sorry. You're not holding the cards anymore. Great AI video. Oh. He's not holding the cards anymore, guys. He's not holding the cards anymore. So, guys, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who came along. Thank you, guys, for all your comments tonight. Thank you for those who gave super chats tonight. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you guys want to come on, I'm going to be heading over to Discord for a little while. So if you guys want to come over to Discord, come say hello. I'll be on there for good up till 10 o'clock because I do have a little bit of work to do tonight. But if you guys want to come and chat for a little bit with me, you can do. I'll be on there in just a moment. But of course, just a reminder, I'll be back live tomorrow with another Good Morning show at 11 a.m. And then we have the roundtable with myself, One Angry Pagan, Daily Blase, and Graham Price. So do join us for that. We'll talk about the war in Iran. We're going to talk about latest things happening in the UK as well. So there's plenty of stuff for us to talk about, I'm sure. So do join us for that there. But on the way out, if you can, please hit that like button. Share it across social media. Subscribe if you haven't to already. Do check out Rumble and Patreon. Like I said, there's going to be plenty of content dropping all the way up till Sunday on both those platforms. So thank you all again so much for watching. And I hope to catch you all very, very soon.